All people from far and near, welcome to Broken Windows. Today I have a new intro for you and also some guests.
Yes. Joel Oteam is my name.
Shadrack, man, no, I forgot. I got excited with the intro.
And our guest is Kiwanuka. I've really failed to mention that name. Nabuguzi
Kiwanuka.
Nabuguzi Kiwanuka.
No first names, no those things of...
Those are government things. Right now we are creatives.
I should look for a creative name also.
Okay.
Yeah, I should also look for a creative name. I don't think mine will be as cool as yours though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wait, Nabuguzi is not actually your name.
It is.
It is?
It is my name.
Okay, it's like a clan name?
It is my clan name, yes, and Kiwanuka is my father's name.
Father's name. Okay, makes sense. And we have actually brought her here for a topic that depicts history and culture. We are trying to look at two, should I call them two variables. We're going to have two variables. That is Black history, and then also looking at our own history, whether we can actually have our culture to actually transcend most of our decisions.
And she's going to educate us.
And she has come here to educate us.
It's just a conversation. I'm not an educator. I'm not a professional.
But you've done your work on like the research on.
I'm very non-professional. I'm very non-proficient either. I'm very passionate about these subjects when it comes to Pan-Africanism, Africanness, and everything related to it. So yeah.
Okay, is it something because of your education or?
It actually stems from a lecturer.
A lecturer.
Yes, a former lecturer. I mean, this is someone who was eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
How
eye-opening? He came to class with like spears and stuff.
Really? Is that eye-opening?
No, but that is dramatic to say he was eye-opening.
That's eye-opening for Jerome, though.
Too soon.
But that's not the kind of eye-opening I'm talking about. He came with a different kind of teaching style, whereby he involved the students to educate themselves. Yeah. And there I had to do a topic on decolonization. Of course, I was passionate about decolonization and everything African, but I didn't know how deep this is. Until I had to undo, because I'm a lawyer.
Yes.
And both of you guys are lawyers?
Yeah.
But we're also decolonized. Yes. That's how you find us here.
I had to be sure. So in jurisprudence,
yes,
I had to undo Marxisms, the equity maxims rather.
Yes.
So I had to compare them to the African proverbs. And
is there a compilation of African proverbs?
It's not. No, there's no compilation. You had to do the search. You had to do the work.
Yes.
Okay.
And what are African proverbs also? Like, what does that mean to say African proverbs? Is it just things of like, it's only when a fly is on your scrotum that you know that you don't just beat things?
I'll give you an example that I love so dearly.
Yeah.
When you have a hairy bum, don't jump over fire.
But you know it's really hard
to
know that you have a hairy bum.
You know it.
No,
you can't fail to know it.
So there are people with no hairy bums.
Yeah, that's where you're safe to jump over the fire.
Find this out?
That's where you're safe to jump over the fire. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're going to get burnt if you have the hair easily gets burnt.
So and what does?
And people didn't have clothes then. Like, I feel like there is so much that could happen.
Jump on. You think people are always dressed all the time?
No. To be jumping over fire, let us try to be dressed.
No, but then if it's an African proverb, we look at way back.
You guys.
Nakedness.
Okay. Yeah, nakedness.
I learned the proverb from a prefect in my former school.
Oh my
he was addressing the assembly, and that's what he said. Like, we need to keep out of trouble.
Okay. So
yeah.
Do you think we appreciate Black history here in Uganda? Do we even understand it?
We're not appreciative of it. We still have the mindset of our colonizer.
Yeah.
It's primitive. I mean, I had
yes.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine whereby she was talking to her daughter. She's, I think, less than 2 years now.
Yes.
And when the market lady, the vendor, had her speak to her child in Uganda, she stopped her. She's like, "You're going to raise a primitive child."
So it is the market vendor's problem that this daughter of
It's
someone
a social
else.
problem.
But that is it even nowadays at homes. People want to speak English because
Yeah.
their attachment
Yes.
to English is civilization.
So we're washing away our culture.
Yeah,
Yes,
so it's
we
a
are.
social problem. And then if we're even to look, let's say, do we actually have history as Uganda? Like, is there a history
Is
that
there a history of
no that we
Uganda?
know of that
we
actually
know
pushes
of.
people to attach themselves to what? To a country so much because they know our history calls for this. Even our constitution seeks to claim that everything we do is because of our history. That
And which history is that?
exactly which history is that?
history is that?
Yeah.
You've asked if we have a history that causes us to be attached to a country.
Yes.
That is a problem.
We
We
do not
can't
have-
be attached to a country that was put up by a colonialist.
No, but I feel like
If you're talking about
that is
history,
that is true.
That
But
is
I feel
true.
like you have to go over that argument because eventually you have to do it. This is our reality, and the reality is that you have this heterogeneous group of about 60 tribes who have come together and have
Yeah.
formed a country called Uganda. So it is you from then on to sort of identify yourself. You can't be like, okay, now the other people decided that we are this and this, and even if we hate that, it is still who you are.
yes, yes.
So
yes.
a part of maybe making a history has to do with like confronting our
Confronting
reality.
our past and
before
everything.
before getting attached to the country, we have to get to we have to get attached to our roots.
True.
Because before the country came up, we had our identities, we
Yes.
had religions, we had cultural norms that were identifying us. I mean, the Uganda have things that identified them. That's why it's easy for us to come on out and say, I'm Uganda takola wacho. You know?
Are
Are we
you
allowed to use
Are you a subscriber to Mama Fina?
how exactly?
Like, do you believe in the power of African magic and all those things?
I don't know what Mama Fina does.
But that's like, she's
No,
doing
let me
like
tell you
Habo.
something about Habo.
No, but you
Habo is
understand. No,
different
you understand
now.
the idea.
The spirituality
Have you understood
kind
the
of
idea?
thing.
Have you understood?
spiritual
I'm trying to
context.
kite you out. I'm trying to see if you do not subscribe to those people, but you're still a practicing, let's say, Christian, and yet you still want to confront these
Still
things
want
of
to confront
colonialism.
colonialism.
Now the thing with religion and Africanness or blackness is quite sensitive because we're going as far as questioning if Christianity is an African thing.
Yes.
But then when you look at the Bible, we have Africa, people traveling to Egypt, and the
But
person
Jesus
I was surprised exactly
Jesus hiding
and
in
people are
Egypt,
arguing
a white
that-
Jesus
A
among
white
black
Jesus
people.
among-
Yes.
Thank
Black
you.
people
People
like
are
me.
arguing that Jesus could be Cushite,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
right?
okay.
You guys have heard that?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. But then when you look at also the Bible, the biblical context of it, we can't speak of Christianity as a white man thing. Yeah, these guys marketed it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But when you look at Simon of Cyrene, are you guys Christians?
We subscribe to a lot of
I was baptized.
Yeah.
That is all I was saying for the
confirmation
record.
also.
When you
I was
look at
baptized.
Simon the Cyrene, I was surprised that he was not like those other guys. He was identified as a Gentile, not a Jew.
Not a Jew.
But he was black. I was surprised. I didn't know. I just got to know that.
Okay.
He was a black person.
Like how far back is this?
Coming-
Is this near Jesus or like 200 years ago?
No, the person who helped Jesus carry
Carry
the
the
cross.
cross.
You
Was
don't
a
know
black
Simon
man.
the
Was-
Siren?
Always black people carry people's problems. You see, this has been
Yeah,
our custom.
that is how the Bible made it.
Exactly. That's the only rule they give us.
But anyway, minus that, if you're saying that we have to go back to our roots and culture and everything,
Yeah.
the question is, does our education actually talk about our real roots and culture? That is one. Two, when we're talking about these new things like feminism and all, are we doing them in the cultural context of Africa, or we are still on that copy and paste into Uganda? Because I think that book written by Dr. Who? Slivia Tamale, trying to show like feminism in an African way. And you know, it talks about Ubuntuism, and it doesn't push away those things of a woman should not wash or shouldn't cook and everything. No, it just calls up. We all know what Ubuntu is, working together
Yeah.
as a family and everything, and that is actually an African aspect. But then if you're going to try and ignore the fact that religion and our culture are two different things, because also there could be, not also, there is actually word out there that religion was actually brought away to handle, or its role was to wash away culture of Africans. Because the belief now is to create a superiority
Complex.
enlightenment of the white people onto us, and everyone has pictures of Jesus somewhere.
What do you think of religion? I really believe that religion is just a culture that was imposed on us. I have no problem with the faith, but when you look at religion, it does everything other cultures told people don't do. Rules around marriage, rules around sex, rules around how to do like all these other things. And the rule message of the word, you get it for maybe 40 minutes on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So, like, but that everything else is basically religion, and I feel like that is our culture.
The master, the
that is
colonial
our culture,
master,
sorry.
we're going to keep talking about the colonial master.
Yeah.
The colonial master used religion as a tool of control. Just like there is a good thing, there are very many chances that someone may use it for something wrong. So we have religion in place, and there is something still, I don't know if it still falls back on this former lecturer of mine, that is Boesije. I don't know if you guys have heard of him.
No.
I don't know if it's him who got me to that space or I got there myself, but when you look at Chintu, the story of our creation, when you compare those two stories and Adam and Eve, there is a big similarity.
But like I said, religion is just culture. When you look at religion, it is basically a group of people telling their history. So the way the Jews tell their history from Adam to Jesus is the way maybe the Baganda are going to tell their history from Chintu
To Kayukuzi.
Kayukuzi.
Because Kayukuzi was supposed to save
I
us
didn't know Kayukuzi,
from...
but yeah.
Kayukuzi was sent to save us
The
from
Baganda.
Walumbe.
Yes. Exactly.
And then this is how we have Jesus coming into play, saving us from what the devil is doing.
Just
Yes.
like Labong and
Jipir, and
I
then
didn't
you
get
go
far with
to
that.
Masaba and who and all those guys. So it's a history.
There's a
people's
chance. I
culture.
feel like there's a chance that our creation stories are the same. I've not yet got into reading all the other histories, but I feel like the other people marketed their story more than we did.
More than we did.
Yes.
But
And
there
they
is
had the
a
resources. Can I
there is
ask
a
you
big
something?
similarity.
Now that we know how the colonial master worked before, what do you think he's doing today? Do you think the colonial master is still there? Because when you talk about black history, you also, like me and him were talking recently about the chaos in Nigeria, people on the streets, and it was sort of a response. The youth were trying to take some
Steps.
steps to protect themselves from police brutality and all those things. We saw that happen in America. What do you think like got those guys there? How do we as Ugandans also start saying that we're going to go on the street? Maybe not to fight the government, but maybe to, let's say, we want every girl to be given pads.
Yeah.
It's still a sense of like working together.
And also, as Baganda girls, to maintain their culture, they would want certain things to happen according to what their culture actually says.
Like how do
you know, like, okay, this is going to be very controversial, but would you want to say that female genital mutilation is a culture of the Sabines?
I've actually not gotten into it. Is a culture because it's a cultural practice.
Yes.
But I don't. I think it's absurd. Although I've not gotten so much into
his question
studying
would be
it.
then, I think the next question would be then that, so how do you like determine what is absurd? How do you say, okay, FGM is a bit of a, like it is, I feel like it's out there. Everyone can agree to be against it. But then there's certain things where not everyone will be on board. So how do you
like
agree?
Kneeling?
For example, kneeling. How do you agree that this is what we're going to take on and what we're going to leave behind? Because maybe Baganda do not like kneeling, but among like Acholi and Langi culture, there's this where the in-laws have to kneel down and sort of, how should I put it, crawl when you're going to collect a bride. So a lot of cultures have all these things.
Because even up to now, the Jews still they skip the broom at weddings, you know, to show that they're finished actually the matrimony. And because for them, they still have. But there's also religion. Their religion doesn't talk about that, but their culture maintains. Let's say we are all Christians and we are maintaining our religion to actually, we are saying we are Christians, but then we'll stick to our what? Our African cultures, like probably off a bit and sexual pulling. How Baganda will always going to the bush and respecting Sengas and all. Because we're noticing there's a way the colonial masters brainwash has made us look at Sengas as very You
they're
know,
not important.
They are
to
not
society.
important, and they are so
Yet do it.
immoral. You get.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then, of course, we will thank Uganda government for what
They recently gave an award to one outstanding member of society. That is Bad Black.
Bad Black.
Who gave her an award?
Uganda.
Buganda. Presented by the Katikro himself.
Really?
Yes.
For-
And she
because
knelt
it's
down.
that-
Oh,
education.
no, she had gone to get the certificate
Oh, what?
of Buganda. It wasn't an
No,
award.
It was an award.
Did you? I think you did.
What
read
was
that.
that?
It was an award. They were thanking her for pushing Buganda
Buganda
cultures. You get?
Is
Like,
it?
yes.
I
The
think I
education
missed
on
that.
like
Probably.
sexual maybe practice and sexual
Or
health.
maybe and
I missed
gossip.
that. And gossip.
Because it could be an African.
That's a wrong image. That's a wrong image. That's a very wrong image.
Yeah.
We can always pull out what dehumanizes us and what doesn't. Personally, I am really questioning. I'm a Muganda, like really a real Muganda, but I really question some
noticeable.
things.
But,
You really question something?
There are very many things that I question. I mean, I had an argument on Facebook recently about
like every law.
about kneeling.
Where else would you have it?
Personal argument. I had an argument about kneeling. I mean, you wake up in the morning and you want to find out how your parents slept. Maybe you're like, "What's on your knees? Like, how did you sleep?"
Yes.
Can you help me understand? I'm questioning. I'm caring about you, but I have to kneel.
Then minus even that.
You understand?
A wife, how she welcomes the husband. There's that aspect when she kneels down and calls him Mukama, and you're like, wait, I thought, you know, like she actually kneels, and it's okay. That's Buganda culture, and he just welcoming him back from work.
Yes.
And it's of how are these two people actually managing to have sexual chemistry if one is more dominant
What-
than
what-
the other in
So
I don't
your
know.
question is on
chemistry-
sexual
the
chemistry.
No, it's about just I want the living of people
Yes.
from a home.
Of course,
but
of
I want
course,
to ask
when you
you
look
two
at that,
questions.
if you're looking at
I want to
African
ask you two a
culture,
question before you go. I want to
Yeah.
ask you two a question. Since you guys you want to defend or like some bit of promotion of like our African traditions and culture, why are you not prepared to accept them in their entirety?
Yeah.
there are some things that are dehumanizing.
Yes, but
Just like we can't accept it in its entirety. We can pick out
so
what
is
is
kneeling
right.
dehumanizing? You feel kneeling is dehumanizing?
It's problematic sometimes because for some the guys come with egos that have to be massaged, and I'm not ready for that.
But you're okay with you people falling down straight for
the kabaka.
kabaka.
I don't.
But then how Muganda
How
are you then?
Muganda?
If you do not
I've
understand
not
the
been
concept.
before him before,
Eh.
so I
No,
don't.
you're
I
not
don't really
yet.
know. I don't really know what it feels like. Although when I see him, if I ever saw him, I think I would have those jitters like, oh my god. This
But
guy.
yes.
So I don't know. Maybe.
When like that is also something I miss about African culture, like
Yeah.
that sense of attachment. When you have a cultural symbol, you
Exactly.
feel attached to something. You be like, that is where I start and that is where I begin.
where I
And that is something for people who are trying to find themselves. Because imagine just waking up like Adam. You don't know like what you don't know what's happening. The guy is like, man, there's a baby here. He's here to do you like blood. You put me in the garden. You ask me why I dressed up. Like a lot of things are happening. No one Adam had to go, but you get it. So my question is like, the problem we have sometimes is that when our colonial masters have engineered these things to make us cut off from our system, for one, how do we start to like get back a bit of that culture? Should we start with a national language? Is that the route to go? And
But you know, even there have been a lot of arguments on what should be the national language because no one actually wants another person's language to be.
no one just wants Luganda. No one just wants. That's the truth. No one just wants Luganda. I would prefer Kiswahili because I think it works better for us because it has worked in Kenya and Tanzania only because it is not assigned to a tribe.
Exactly.
Yes.
That makes it easier.
It makes
But then
easier.
Ugandans can't really take on Swahili because it's the language of the thieves. Of the army people.
There's some trauma, yes.
We can't just take it up. I mean, you're going to police, and these guys are communicating in Swahili, you don't even know what next, and before you know it, you're being tortured.
Yeah.
So you can't really take on Swahili. We're left there.
But then
We're
you
left
see,
there.
let's
No, the
just-
thing about languages, it's okay to speak English.
I also believe that.
It's
I
okay
also
to speak
believe that.
English
I think-
because it's a universal way of communicating. But do you know how to speak your language, your mother tongue?
Yeah, that is the question.
But
That's where the
before-
problem
I think
is.
because we will have a long discussion on that particular point, but then we're still talking about our history and everything. You know, our SST classes and everything have praise for particular people. And that is very happy.
Vasco
For
da Gama.
Mwanga and Kabalega, the people who actually probably led to
Was
the
that
erosion. Yes, SST.
Not
Social studies, yes, very, very serious.
We studied about Mwanga in primary.
Yes, you didn't attend class.
Then they made allegations.
No, I think it's all level.
No, we actually started from way
We're
back.
just about
You remember
Vasco
that
da
book?
Gama and everything.
No, there's that book. It was
There's
blue book and what it had Mwanga
I should have
actually
carried
on
my
top.
my P7 SST book here.
Yes, but yeah,
But-
the phrase that our history accumulates on this particular, you know, it still exists up to now.
And but I feel like there's also very little documentation on it, because if people realize that Mwanga and Kabalega were not intimidated by the colonizer, and maybe I think it's Chifu from
A witch.
Chief a witch, yes. All these people were not intimidated, and if there was a way someone could have recorded what those people were saying, would see sense in it
Would see
today.
sense in it today. Because
But it's not even given. The education system doesn't give us that.
okay, minus even that. Even,
Because it's watered down as irrelevant. We're still praising the person who. I mean, we're in class and they're telling us that these guys, the missionaries, taught us how to read and write. You guys, can we get serious? So we couldn't read Luganda, we couldn't write Luganda.
That is true.
That is true.
Like really?
That is a mind fuck. That
Like,
is a
really?
mind fuck. John Speak discovered the Nile.
And I mean,
what-
people are still. We were still in a system whereby we sit back and say things like, "If the white man didn't come, we wouldn't know how
we
to
wouldn't
write."
know how to
No,
write. and
that is not
Serious.
And yet there is actually
But we
proof
don't know that.
that
that Nero rock paintings were there.
the oldest
The
civilizations
oldest-
come
exactly,
from Africa.
From Africa. and
Because
all.
they even say that when the British came to Buganda, I'm really going to speak
Yeah.
about Buganda.
Yeah.
It's okay.
When they came to Buganda, they were surprised that we had the same system
Because
with
that-
them.
yes,
Because
they-
they're all
there's no
about the
sense.
monarchs and everything
Yeah,
like that.
true.
And this is what they found here.
Yeah, and that is why they didn't come to areas like Soroti, because we didn't have kingdoms.
Yes, that is
Which
true.
is because for them they need to run things and
You need that system of government. You need that system
Yes.
of government. That is. I feel like we do not appreciate our cultures enough. Even me, I've struggled learning about my culture to that level where I can be like, okay, what? This is how I feel about. Now, for example, what you said about image. There is an image of, let's say, the Luo man in Uganda, but us as Luo people were one of the primary languages of the world. That means we're literally one of the first civilizations of the world. Like, that is how you trace languages.
Yeah.
In Uganda, there are about 5 languages. I don't know this for a fact.
the rest are dialects.
The rest are dialects. So, Luganda is a language, but everything's Lusoga, that would be a dialect. It's just that now here, the Basoga became their own people. They established a
But who
chiefdom.
determines that?
Who determines that?
Who determines that?
You
The
understand?
dialect.
Yeah, who
No,
determines
but it's
the
just, I
language
think
and
it's
who determines
phonetics.
dialect?
Like if you're speaking very similarly to someone,
No, but-
we are going to assume your mutual cousins of like 2 centuries back.
No,
It's-
but
it's
but,
just
but
tracing.
It's
clearly-
a question of what are the chances that the Lusoga could have been the language and
Yeah,
Uganda is
exactly.
the
But because
dialect.
it was used in the process of divide and rule
Exactly.
to show you that you're all different. Because also, as I was still emphasizing the fact that history demonizes people who opposed colonialism. Totally, like it makes them feel like Mwanga and like these people were not for us and everything.
Yeah.
But is there a time like our history can actually come and show us clearly that these people were actually maintaining who we are and trying to stick? Because I don't really want to go very far, but our museums even don't have our things. Like things that talk about our culture. Unlike
It's
probably,
very shallow.
Yeah, unlike probably Buganda, but still, how many times have the Kasuri tombs gotten?
And we have just let it happen.
Yeah,
The men
let
have
it
just
happen
said
and- yeah.
funny things while they're
Yeah.
destroying. Like like cultural artifacts.
No, because actually out there, culture is very important. When you destroy, even our laws provide for it. When another country, when you're going to
Can't
war,
really rely on the laws though.
okay, yeah,
because-
but when you're going to war, you're not supposed to destroy those
cultural
institutions and everything. You're supposed to leave them as they are, to actually show that there's a fair fight. But then, is there something that we can do for our history? Oh, it's done. Because now when social media comes, what is on social media? It's a continuous itinerary of brainwash.
Yeah.
Because all of us now are going to be twerking, silhouette challenge.
All of us.
But in Tanzania people also twerk. But in Tanzania people also twerk.
Yeah, I'm just trying to tell you that Africa, we are just doing things that are being done the other side.
We're following trends.
Yeah, someone has bleached, another one here also wants to bleach to look a certain particular way. And yet I am told dark girls are very good looking. So I don't know what we are doing, trying to imitate. And that comes to one other question that I would want to point out. If we are, like as a country, now everything we do on social media looks at things abroad.
Compare.
No one actually wants to stay in Africa. There's all that
I
that
want
thought.
to.
Yeah, you do.
Uganda, Chinyuma.
But now there's that point where everyone feels like for you to better yourself, you have to live abroad. Then you probably come back. What happens when you go abroad? You
subject to racial abuse and all those
you even change. You forget how to even speak your language. During my did you do Christian political thought?
No.
Yes, it was like philosophy. During that particular class, our lecturer asked us, he's like, I need you to tell me an authentic story from your tribe and think in your language and then speak in English. Think about it in your language and then mention it in English. And then I realized, wait, all these stories are actually in English.
They're all in English.
Yeah.
They're all in
Kintu did this. It's even your thought. You're meant to think in an you get in the English way. You can't actually, because if you restrict yourself to language, the importance of language. Language is both in diagrams, because back then the drawings were considered. I've forgotten how they are called. But yeah, those drawings were significant, or signs to actually show that is how we write. But that's the difference. That's the mistake that these history things tell us. The whites came and told us how to read.
And they also didn't know.
Write, because even the Greek used to write in those.
But the white people also didn't know how to write. It's Chinese
Even the
invented
Egyptians.
writing.
Even the
Look at
Egyptians,
how Egyptians were writing.
Because I remember they were trying to, in past years, 1900 something, they were trying to decode a certain language from Egypt, but it was in diagrams.
Yes.
But no one knew because they managed to phase it out. And believe you me, probably 100 years from now,
we shall be struggling.
Our languages.
There'll be another YouTube channel, and they'll be speaking to the last Muganda alive. Nabuguzi, thank you for coming as the last Muganda alive. What do you think is the way forward for you yourself alone? You get so. That is the place we are going if we're not careful. But I also feel like language is important because it helps to protect a body of knowledge.
Yeah.
If you do not have a body of knowledge in your country, you can't have an intellectual debate in Uganda, in any local language, because there's not enough body of knowledge in that language. If you're going to have to rely on English ideas and theories,
because now what you were speaking.
You see, we're talking about decolonization or history and language. I decided to do the work myself. My mom used to buy me those literature books in Uganda, but as early as P2. But still, I mean, like school, they're telling us to speak English.
Yes.
So they even she buying me these books. So I would ask, right, I wore those things.
You are local there.
I was really punished for speaking Luganda. So you get to a space whereby at school you're being told to speak English. And here you are back at home. This matriarch is giving you a book in Luganda. So I'd ask, do I have to read out loud? She'd be like, no, you don't have to. So I just look at the book and don't read anything. Because I was not connected to this.
Yes.
It's the education they're giving us. Even when she was helping me with math, because she's a good mathematician, she would be helping me with homework. She'd be like, Yauza. Like, what? What's What is that? First we do it in English. You always subtract. So like first we do it.
Exactly,
Or maybe
yeah.
multiplication, like we someone like, what? To say it in English, you
so
know?
that it makes
But then
sense
for
to
her, she told me when they were doing education, they first had to do it in their local languages.
They do that up
for the
country.
early
They still do
age.
that up country.
Is it? For the early age, and then you get into the English.
Like
I
in
think.
P3, yeah, that's what
but
they
Yeah.
but you know our education system says that if you fail English,
do. You're failing.
you cannot proceed. Even if you pass them, but if you have a fail in English or math, it is a wrap
You
for you.
cannot
You
work
have
for the
to-
government.
The government.
Yes,
The
so
prestigious opportunity of working for the
this-
government of Uganda.
this particular conversation is
available
very
to you.
long in its own dimensions.
It
But
is.
then I want us to end here for today.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming, for
Yeah.
gracing us this talk. We know you're doing a lot of work with your podcast.
Yes,
Is it
and
lots of
Can you
work?
just tell us just something small about it?
about it.
Yes.
About my podcast?
Yes.
It's all about unraveling social constructs. Like we're just digging up all the soil to get the right information out. I mean, if there is someone saying that the Ganda culture is primitive, what did they have that was good? I'm giving it as an example, but it's not that we're talking about just
Uganda
African
culture.
race,
Uganda, yeah.
but we're having wellness there. I mean, we're talking about mental health. We're talking about maybe the workspaces, the
Yes.
things that we're supposed to be doing, our education as well. Couple of things, different topics that we
That's
tackle
great
there.
stuff.
But
That's great stuff.
and thank you so much again. As we finish, I also need us to know that our professional world doesn't allow us to keep certain hair as ladies in offices.
Yeah.
You know, if you keep it in an African way, probably a little bit up, your boss can come and tell you, know what, you're untidy.
I've been so lucky.
When you were also talking about the
So
beard,
lucky.
Exactly, the beard also.
I've
same
been so
stuff.
lucky.
A topic I
okay,
shall
now
comment about
because
later.
I'm too Afro things. My very first time getting into the workspace, I had big hair, you guys, and this guy didn't say anything, although he hated me in the beginning. I think he was seeing a revolutionary that he wasn't ready for.
Yeah.
But as time went on, you get to realize the kind of language he uses. I mean, you want fit in, or maybe you go to spaces and everyone is looking at you like, who is this? But for the way how I carry my hair, and I've not really had a problem.
All right. Thank you everyone for coming to watch us today.
and subscribing.
And subscribing. And if you have not, please dare to do it. It is very important. I think next time we're hosting Nabuguzi, she will have probably
But
red hair.
just mention the name of the podcast.
And you don't want red hair. I know people who have, but thank you so much.
I know people who have.